See how I come up with the measurements and assembled this cabinet door right now.
Unlike these, where figuring out the math and stuff because there was no tongue involved or anything like that. The rail, I'm just going to use a scrap piece of wood and cut this off at 10 3/4 and use that as a rough gauge. We'll rough that out first and then we'll see how that works. And if it's successful, then I'll know that my formula is pretty spot on. So what I've done is cut my scrap out, positioned my stiles so that they're 1/4 inch reveal on each side, laid this down on here, and it is 3/8 of an inch on both sides. What I really could do if I wanted to would be take my router bits and cut my stiles and then cut my end profiles on here and fit it together to make sure it perfectly lines up. These got to be cut anyway. I'm only hesitant about that because I really want to only set up the router once for all my stiles and once for all my rails, but for this one drawer, so I can demonstrate here, I may actually do that and then just cut this rail here out. This rail might actually, as I laugh and chuckle a little bit, depending on the profile cut here, the reality is I'm also going to chamfer this edge, so I could actually reuse that here and reuse these for something else that's a little bit wider, because these are right now still rough cut at 12 inches. I could reuse those for something else. So I've got my 2 rails cut at 10 3/4, my 2 stiles cut at 23 3/16. So now I'm going to run them through my rail and stile set, cut the profiles, which will actually create a little bit of a bevel on this. It'll create the groove around the inside edge, and then the other bit will cut the profile that'll match this on the ends of the rails. Here's my rail and stile bit is a shaker profile. You can see it's got a slight bevel on one side. This one cuts the tongue and the profile for the rail, and this one here cuts the profile for the stile. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to run some test material through here to represent our stile. In the case of this, I'm just going to use this piece right here. It'll represent the stile. We'll cut this out, and then we'll use another piece, a piece of scrap, to represent our rail. So using my template, what I notice is that there's a little bit of a lip here and a little bit of a lip here. So my measurements is off just a slight little bit. Drop it down just a little bit. So after numerous dial-in attempts, I finally got it where it's flush right here, which is what you want. It's cutting perfect with my jig. I'll go ahead and do my stiles and cut those out now.
Oh no, I didn't.
Now what I did is I went ahead and cut all 4 of my pieces here. Completely just screwed them up. This is the tongue. That's what happens when you use the wrong bit. It's supposed to be cutting the groove and not the tongue. So it looks like I get to make all new door edges again.
I'm using the Rockler rail coping sled. Link in the description if you want to check it out.
So if you're looking at this, this would be my stile, and this would be my rail. So you want this groove here to be on the inside of your stile so the panel will fit in there. And these fit perfectly like that. Make sure that you're rotating, especially with this type of bit, because as you can see, it's got a little bit of a bevel here. I want that bevel to be on the same side. If you flip it end for end, you'll end up having the wrong, it'll be facing the wrong direction. There's my 2 rails, they're made. Now I'll change out bits and I'll do the other profile, which will cut the groove. Okay, so I've cut my rails and numbers are up, and in my stiles I've drawn the profile. In order to get that profile off my bit, I have to flip it over. So the numbers need to be down when I cut and cope the groove for the panel as well as for the tongue and the rails. So I've flipped these over so I know if I'm seeing the numbers, it's the wrong side up. So I'm going to go ahead and run these right quick, and then I will demonstrate how they all go together. Probably would have been much easier had I used my rip fence, and I probably will next time. So I've cut these all out, and now when I put these together, they pretty much lock in just like this. The same would go for this side, and finally the other one with the groove on the center. Side profile, you can see how the tenon fits perfectly in there, and how it all goes together, and how all the way around the slight beveled edge, followed by the groove for the panel, followed by a flat back. The panel will just slip right in there. So from there, I should be able to get the panel size. The door is resting on the frame. It's a full overlay frame with a 1/4 inch reveal all the way around, and it came out square with the frame. Looks great. Now, to get the panel size, the width is simply the length of this rail from the tenon to the tenon, and I like to leave a 1/16 of an inch expansion. Since I'm using MDF veneer, you know, it's very stable, it won't expand very much, but I'm only going to leave a 1/16 of an inch for that way. To get the depth of the panel this way, what you need to do is measure your opening plus the 2 times the depth of your tenon minus 1/16 of an inch. So for me, I've got 18 and 11/16. And if I subtract that 1/16 of an inch for expansion, I got 18 and 5/8. And then my tenon depth is 3/8 of an inch. So 3/8 of an inch this way to this way is 3/4. So writing that down here, 18 and 5/8 plus 3/4 minus 1/16 for expansion. That will equal the height of my panel. The width of the panel is measured from tenon edge to tenon edge, 10 and 3/4, and subtract about a 1/16 of an inch. Like I said, MDF is pretty stable. It's not really going to expand too much. If it was a real wood panel, I'd probably give it an 1/8 of an inch for expansion. Got 10 and 3/4, which we already knew based on the rail length here, minus 1/16. 1/16 is not much expansion, so I probably actually will bump this up to an 1/8 of an inch. That's pretty much how that lines up. So here is the exploded view of my door that I've been working on. My stiles have all been cut and routed down with a shaker style bit, putting a slight bevel on this edge right here, cutting the groove for the panel and leaving a little back. Same on this one and same on this one. There's a tongue cut with a matching bit that goes there and made into the stiles. Now the panel, it's an 1/8 inch shorter than the rail. We'll dry fit this door up right quick. Before we glue it up, I'll start by putting in the 2 rails into one stile. And I'm going to flip it up on its end here and simply slide the panel down into the coped groove, and then put the other stile on. And then what you'll also notice here, what I've done is I've mashed the bottom rail up flat against this, and I push the top rail in, and you'll notice that there's about an 1/8 inch extra right there. That is because what happens is when this guy is pushed down, he actually has an 1/8 inch gap also. So we'll just push that back up and make sure the sides are all flush, everything looks good. It feels good here. Right here, I pulled this off the bit just a little soon, so this beveled edge is not quite cut enough, so I'll need to actually trim that down a little bit to match it, because what it's doing is it's causing this to kick out and leave a little bit of a gap right here. I'll trim that down with a file and match that angle and just trim that little lip off, and it'll fit up nice. And overall, this door has come out looking pretty good, and give it that 1/4 inch reveal that I'm looking for all the way around. It fits pretty nicely. That is a pretty nice looking door. So what I'll do now is I'll just clean this up and then we'll get it all glued up.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.